How's it going, Mark?
Good, man.
Well, guys, I appreciate the time and certainly want to look in the rearview mirror a little bit, but let's deal with the here and now and this big OC Metal Meltdown Festival going on at Honda Center on Friday, June 21st. And since this is just kind of a standalone show, not a traveling tour, is there any cool story about how this came together, or did a promoter just kind of godfather you and make you an offer you can't refuse?
Yeah, I think that's what happened. Just our agent just got the gig, and it's really good for us because it's almost like a homecoming for us because that's in our early days. That was our beginnings. This club called the Woodstock kind of adopted us, and that was our home base. And we would go to Hollywood and play this show, and go, traveling around in a milk truck, and so to bring it back, it's like full circle return. So it's exciting.
Audie?
Yeah, no, I just got our agent told me we have a gig there. That's how I found out about it. But it's great though that the band's, from Orange County. So like Mark says, full circle.
And a great lineup. I mean, you guys, Slaughter, Quiet Riot, Vixen. I imagine you have a ton of history with all those bands.
Oh yeah, we well on the same agency pretty much, but yeah, I mean we've known each other through the years in our heyday and up till now or so.
I would think, especially with Slaughter, who kind of had their peak around the late 80s or into the early 90s, kind of like how you guys did. So I imagine a lot of touring with them back in the day.
Yeah, we still are to this day. we do about half of our shows with those guys, it seems like. But it's
yeah,
like really
they
go ahead.
Yeah, they came out. I believe they came out a little after us. It was more late '80s when they came out, and we were, we've been going. Our first tour was in '83 with Whitesnake in Europe.
Wow.
So, we were. But I remember being on the road. I don't know if you were with me, Audie, but we saw Mark was singing with Vinnie Vincent. It was in Baltimore. I don't know if you were at that gig.
It was Harpo. It was at
he was like, he was like 19 years old, I think.
Yeah, it was at Harpo's though in Detroit. Was that show?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
They had the real high stage. It's like 20 feet in the air.
Yeah, it's big.
I wouldn't go near the edge of that.
Yeah, it says big sign saying no stage diving. It is literally like 20 feet in the air.
Yeah, exactly. No stage diving.
And as far as the Honda Center show, how long of a set are you guys going to get? Has that been all worked out yet?
Can we get an hour, Mark?
I'm not even sure. We're headlining, so we might get a few extra minutes.
Yeah,
and we're gonna play. We're doing well, I don't know if I should mention it because I don't know if you consider another radio station a rival because they're in a different market.
Right.
But anyways, on the 18th, we're gonna play live on KLOS. Because they're affiliated also with the Honda Center.
Gotcha.
So it'll be a good promo. Plus, you're helping us out, man. KCal's always been behind the band, so
absolutely,
it's awesome, man.
Well, I'm looking forward to finally getting to see Brett. I'm tired of watching all these videos on YouTube and stuff. and I was curious, man, who gets the bragging rights? Who discovered Brett for you guys? Who was it? Who found him?
Well, actually,
go ahead.
Our friend of ours, Eric, was working with Brett side band. And, we were looking for a singer. He goes, Brett could totally fill the shoes. So that's basically how it came about.
Yeah.
Right?
We auditioned. This is the way we did it. We stripped the vocals off a live tape and sent it out to 3 different singers. And he was the one that paid the most attention. So we show up in Vegas. We haven't even jammed with this guy, and he came in. We did a rehearsal in Las Vegas. Went through the songs not more than once, did we? I seem to remember. Anyways, so my headphones the night of the show weren't. I didn't really hear him that good, right? After the show, people are coming up to me saying, you're a fool if you don't keep this guy. And then it became kind of like world news. I mean, like Italy and Germany, England, the UK, and even the type entities that usually just want to suck dirt out of you were raving about this guy. So I happened to see a YouTube video from that night from a cell phone, and I'm going, holy shit, this guy really is nailing it, you know, because we played Stick It even, like going back to the first album that night, and he's hitting like every note perfect, right? So I go, holy crap, man, let's get him for another show. And it just kind of snowballed from there. And then we did a group. We called them as a group and say, hey, man, you know, what do you think about, you know, doing this at a more permanent level? Because when people come see the band live and we sound just like the records, you know, that's what I think they like that, you know, because they know what's going on. If we got a singer that can't quite handle the range and, you know, it's not as cool. So it's not easy to find a singer that can sing, you know, that A to Z, range with the vocal. And he's real close to the songs. We're getting together early June, and we're writing new stuff so we can get them on some new material. So it's exciting.
Yeah, I was certainly going to get into that. Last time we got to talk, Mark, was when the last album came out, Full Circle, back in 2017. So I'm glad to hear that there's new music coming with Brett, so we can kind of put his stamp on the Great White catalog.
Yeah, I think it'll, you know, not only keep his incentive but ours as well. You know, keep our energy vibrating where it's supposed to be, because that's what we're all about is you know, creating new music. I mean, you know, the only way, you know, even though we are older, you know, we don't want to be an oldies band that just goes out and plays once a bit and trash out once a year. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's cool for us to come up with something and try to improve and, you know, and you know, do it better than we did last time, you know. So it's a challenge, and that's what keeps our energy up.
It's great to hear that, man, that you are doing new music, because a lot of bands from your era are just sticking to playing the hits. But I always kind of felt like, as a musician, as a band, you always got to keep creating. Isn't that right, Audie?
Absolutely, yeah. Otherwise, you just get jaded and stale. You know, same old, same old. You got to get your mind functioning again. You know, and just we all know all these songs already, like the back of our hands. We can play in our sleep, and we practically have with the traveling that we have. But yeah, it's just much, you know, keep fresh, keep your mind invigorated. You know, get creative and give something for the people to hear. Especially like Mark said with Brett. You know, with a new guy.
Yeah.
He's probably getting tired of playing, you know, covering the cover for him in his eyes. You know what I mean? So,
you know,
yeah.
Sticking with you for a second, Audie, and new guys in the band, or at least for right now, we do have a new temporary bassist, Scott Snyder, resting and recovering at home, or is he back now?
Oh, he's back now. Yeah, I was out about almost 3 months with a major back surgery, way overdue. Yeah, he's been out for a few shows. He's doing great. He has no more pain. And yeah, so we're back, all back to it's all together.
Awesome. Glad to hear he's back in the mix. And you know, I was gonna say to you guys, I'm kind of surprised for this show or this year, a little bit surprised and a little bit selfishly, that you guys aren't out there celebrating the 35th anniversary of Twice Shy.
Yeah, like the other bands where they play the whole album in its entirety.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
I would love to do that, you know.
We should do that. We should do that.
That's the only way to get to hear, like, Highway Nights and, you know, Move It.
Yeah.
Hard to Honor.
Yeah. We used to play Highway Nights. I don't even know how long it's been since we've done that, but probably not since the 90s at least.
Since Jack, since we had Jack.
Mm-hmm.
That's how long, how far back. That's what, like 16 years ago already now.
Damn.
We used to open with Move It.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a cool one.
Audie, I was going to ask you about that tune in particular, Highway Nights. I felt like that was kind of one of the most metal moments for Great White, and kind of if that drum pattern was just kind of something that you were doing, warming up, goofing around, and kind of built a song around it.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we didn't really have a song, right, Mark, around that. I just played, double bass stuff for a long time, and then Mark started creating, parts in that vein of that beat. And
a lot of our stuff,
all
a
those
lot
drums
of our stuff stems from jams. Like we'll have some set things, like I'll have some ideas, and then we get in that practice room and just that, start jamming. And believe it or not, a lot of times we go, hey, so what was that thing you just did? Let's work on that,
Right.
Killer solo in that one too.
Yeah, it's killer guitar solo. Yeah, I mean, all those drum tracks on that song were like all improvised. None of that was actually written out and said, okay, this is what I'm going to play this part. This is what I'm going to play on that part. We're just all done by feel, and it came out. We got lucky like that. When most of the tracks in the early days, I didn't even know what the lyrics were going to be.
Right.
I would just get
lucky. That way you can't make mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. But trying to relearn that stuff for live or video, it's like, oh man, and you really had to write it, So.
I'm curious about that album too. I mean, it's essentially a continuation of the prior album to that, Once Bitten, Twice Shy. How long into it did you guys have that idea to kind of make a follow-up to kind of tie back into the prior album? Was that the plan from the get-go?
No.
It
was never the plan. It was just the saying, once bitten, twice shy, was just a saying. And this song completely happened by accident. That we were done with the record, I believe, pretty much done. We had enough songs. It wasn't like we were hunting for a cover or anything. It was just the manager brought that song to us and go, what do you guys think about doing this song? And he really liked the lyrics a lot. So we thought it was okay. I don't know about you, Audie, but I never thought it'd be a single or whatever.
No, to be honest with you, I never even liked that song when I heard it on the radio. I didn't know it said once bitten, twice shy. I thought it was talking about try shopping or something like that. And it was done. The studio version of that song was done with a little tiny cheap drum machine, so it had these really hokey drums on it. And when our manager goes, you guys can really tear this up, I'm going, oh, okay, And then little do we know, like, it's recorded, we're selling 100,000 units a week. It's like, who knew? I'm making excuses. God, this is our first single, but we got all these other really cool ones, for if this one doesn't happen. And it just clicked.
I never even heard the song. I never heard the song before. The only thing I knew about Ian Hunter was Mott the Hoople.
Right.
And we met him a couple times. Before Audie joined the band and we toured with Judas Priest, our sound man was friends with Ian Hunter, and we borrowed his drum riser out of his backyard for that tour.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
So that's the only time we ever met the guy. Well, and one other time, I think he rode on our bus or something in the 80s. I forget what that was about, but it had nothing to do with us doing the song. It was just a freak thing. Plus, I've told this before, but if you're going to do a cover song, like say you're short on material, you always get a hit. You know what I mean? That way you're halfway home, you do it your own way or whatever. You don't go find a song that's never been a hit and try to make it one. You know what I'm saying?
That song wasn't a hit until we recorded it.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So that was a circumstance that was different than the norm, like you were saying.
In fact, I've even heard that Ian Hunter, it kind of revived him because of the money that he got from the song. And he put a band back together. He was touring and on MTV again. And people were asking him why he's playing that Great White song.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, what was the album going to be called before you had written it? Was it going to be Mr. Bone, the album from Great White, or did you have a name? Or
no, it was always going to be Twice Shy. It was always going to be Twice Shy.
Yeah.
So you were going to tie back into Once Bitten, no matter what, on the record preceding it.
Right. It was the same, Once Bitten, Twice Shy. The song came after.
Ah, interesting.
And they had that movie too with Jim Carrey, and he was Mark Kendall.
Yeah,
and it was called Once Bitten.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah, the movie was called Once Bitten, and Jim Carrey's character was Mark Kendall. It was pretty amazing.
Wow. So you've had Jim Carrey play you, and the band is named after you, Mark. You're the Great White.
Yeah.
Well, the story behind that's funny because Jack used to, when I would do a solo, because I'm the whitest guy in the world or whatever, he used to say Kendall, the Great White, and I'd play some solo in the song. Well, when Niven seen us, he never heard him say that. He didn't say it those nights. So what happened was Niven was out in the front of the whiskey waiting for his car or something, and there was all kinds of people outside. It was in between bands, so they're smoking cigarettes or whatever. And I supposedly drove by in a car and stuck my head out the window and screamed something, whatever it was. And the kid next to him goes, "There goes Great White." And he hated our name. Our name, the band, was Dante Fox, and he despised the name of our band. So to him, that was the name. You know what I mean? So we didn't know it until we talked to him the next day at the record company that, he said that he thought we had potential, but hated the name, hated it.
Hey, Mark,
and so it was funny how that happened.
One other old Dante Fox kind of era question. I was shocked to see that back in those days, million years ago, that John Bush auditioned for that band back in the day.
Yeah. Well, it was actually, we had Audie's girlfriend was singing for us by coincidence.
Oh, wow.
And her name was Lisa Baker. And then George Lynch kind of snipped her out of our band to join his band. And so we were hunting for a singer, and we auditioned John Bush, who's a great, great singer. It's just the songs I was writing back then and the stuff we were playing was geared for a higher range. So we ended up getting another guy that could sing Priest perfect, and that was our intelligence back then.
Was that before Armored Saint was going then?
You know what? It was probably the embryo of Armored Saint, maybe. I'm not really sure. I remember John coming over though, really nice guy, sings great.
Yeah.
And obviously he's had a long career, so other people think he sings good too, But it just, when we heard Butch, who Audie knows well because he's jammed with Butch before, his range was, pretty awesome.
Halford
for the time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Speaking of Halford and stuff, we were talking about the old days. Audie, I wanted to cut it up with you a little bit. I know you're like the metal guy in the band, that you're more the like modern metal guy in the band. What do you listen to these days?
A lot of Disturbed.
Okay.
I like Disturbed. I like Ginger.
Yeah.
Rain. That chick's voice is phenomenal. It can go from to very melodic, and the drummer is amazing. I mean, they're really accomplished musicians. Basically those two bands, and I listen to a lot of Rainbow and Deep Purple and Dio and stuff like that. But yeah, the newer stuff, Disturbed's one of my favorite. I love Mike Rengren's playing.
Yeah.
Really nice guy on top of that too. I got to talk to him a couple times, but it just, it's just the energy of it. I mean, a lot of the stuff that I like, I don't really pay attention to the lyrics or particularly care for the tone of the vocalist. Sure. But the drums, what is called for in those songs, is just like, it's awesome. You're soloing, it's high, it's intense, it's just tense as it can be, and it's just exciting. Lately I've been just checking out all these local drummers on YouTube that have that kind of metal style. Mm-hmm. It's just phenomenal how fast they can get their feet going. It's just like, wow, I go, that's a whole nother generation from me. You know what I mean? It's like, plus, when I was growing up, all I had was a turntable, the needle, go back to where the part was to figure out what it was. Like now you can punch in, do me a drum beat in 7/8 or something. There's like 4,000 people showing you how to do it.
Right.
Or explaining or showing you how they play this particular part. And it's just a wealth of information, which Mark and I didn't have in our heyday. It was just the turntable, the needle, slow it down,
I love Ginger.
Years ago, my son kind of got this band called Finch. I don't know if you ever heard of them, but got them a record deal. And I went to their the rehearsal, and they had a song called Mr. Kendall, you know, because I sort of was involved with the tune. And that drummer, this is the first time I ever heard a drummer have a single foot that fast. And he was just, it was like, I'm going, what is going on? I never heard nothing like that. And that's kind of what Audie's talking about, because I've heard some of those drummers too. I send him a drummer every once in a while, go check this dude out or whatever, and he'll come back with some dude that's just like, holy God, what's going on here? This is a whole new world, man.
Man, nothing to make us feel old, but that debut Finch album just celebrated its 20th anniversary. They just did a 20th anniversary.
Great. That was a good album. You know what happened? And my son even told me that they went too far south of that too early. Mm-hmm. So their second album was almost like movie soundtracks or something. It was really a departure from what was working.
Yeah.
Because they really got some good promo and everybody in the band looked great. And, you know, it was just, they had killer songs. I mean, I think that ended way too soon. That should have went on for, you know, a while. That was a good band.
And Audie, going back to Ginger for a second, I mean, Tatiana can, like you said, sing, scream, do reggae. And their drummer, I don't know if you've noticed, I'm sure you have. I played drums a little bit as a kid, but everything is tilted forward for him. Like,
yeah,
pride and everything.
Everything's over. I mean, and everything's low. The cymbals are as low as the toms. Like I have my cymbals up high.
Yeah.
And it's cool because you got an advantage. It's like over it. Just, you know, there's this one guy that has this drum set where all the drums are tilted like that. This black cat. I don't know if he's jazz or whatever, but it's a really weird setup. Everything's forward like the bass drum, and he leans over it and plays it. But yeah, the drummer in Ginger, yeah, he has all the cymbals low and they're tilted forward. So he doesn't have to make that much effort to reach this, you know, stuff.
I would just think that the like hitting the crashes or even the ride wouldn't sound right if it, you know, tilted at that angle, but I guess not.
No, I mean, Casey from Queensryche, all his cymbals are adjusted like that too, kind of in a weird position I would never play. You know, but it's like there's no rules. It's however makes it easiest for each guy.
Sure.
You know? But when you're not used to this, like, wow, how does he play that like that? It's like leaning forward over that way, or yeah.
I noticed that one thing about you recently is get that hi-hat over the toms now.
Oh, I've had that for quite a few years. I've had that since we recorded Rock Me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because before, when I had the single hat, when I'm playing on the side, I would always smack my wrist with a stick unless I held my arm way over to leave space for it.
Right. So
I found by having the remote hat up front, it's clear. I don't have to deal with it. And now I use that for choruses and stuff. So it's like my ride hat, so to speak. I mean, but they both open and close. One's never just shut. So they both function. So yeah, I've been doing that for a long time.
That drum set behind you, we used to wheel in out of the trucks in the arenas.
Oh no, not this. No, that's the one we did.
Oh, okay.
Hard Rock video. We did it in
But
Vegas.
you used to have something like that, like a wave thing or something.
Yeah, I had
I guess that was different. That was different. Yeah.
Jim Volker, he used to make the drum cages. He made that one for Tommy Aldridge. It looked like a diamond when he was in Whitesnake.
Yeah.
When I met the guy who made that, he made me one. I said to look like I was in a wave, like, you know.
Oh wow.
Like that. And then the cymbals would hang all around, and it was built into this piece of metal, like this set cart, and the whole thing would stay, you know, set up except for the cymbals, and it just rolled this big cage and just the forklift it into the 40-foot semi, bring it out, bring it down. My tech would put the cymbals on. It was all mic'd. Everything's ready to go.
Badass.
Yeah, that was cool.
We called it the Urban Assault Vehicle.
Guys, I appreciate all the time. Last thing I got to hit you with, we're old school station. You know, KCal, you're in the Inland Empire. We do a feature called Mandatory Metallica.
Right.
You guys are going to be a part of. Curious to get your take. Probably more of a question for Audie than Mark, but I've been having this little Metallica debate recently, going back to their early thrash metal albums, trying to debate their greatest thrash metal album, which kind of comes down to Ride the Lightning versus Master of Puppets. If you had to choose one out of those two, which one would it be?
Oh God! While I prefer Master of Puppets.
Me too. Yeah. I'm all about Master of Puppets. That was it was actually a Michael Wagner album too, who produced a couple records for us.
Right.
And they actually had a little reunion not long ago where they brought in Michael Wagner and talked about the recording of that record. It's pretty amazing. Metallica, one of the reasons I love them so much is they started like us. They just set out of a garage and they got better because they played together. Yeah. And that's kind of us. We were horrible. Like when the mom comes out and said, "Can you tone it down?" and stuff like that. And then we keep firing away, and because we keep firing away, we improve. You know what I mean? So we weren't like the type band that were already great when we got together. We were, at least in the beginning. So that's kind of why I like Metallica. They kept improving and improving just because of the relentless practice and rehearsing and together and keeping just waving that metal flag and and traveling like crazy men, and just not giving up. Really a lot of determination, enthusiasm. They're just it's a great band.
Audie?
Yes. Oh, I agree. Totally. Yeah. I mean,
your thoughts, would those be was that how it'd break down for you? Were those probably your two favorite Metallica albums?
Out of those, from that to the earliest one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so, yeah.
But why, what pushes it over Master? What makes Master your favorite out of those two?
I don't know, just the production mainly and the arrangements of the song and the energy. It's matured more. You know what I mean? Since then, I mean,
big
other
energy.
albums have great
Big
energy for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think any of their albums ever lacking energy. But this is just more polished, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. I thought right kind of sounded like it was recorded in a bathroom. I mean, not production.
Even Lars had said something about he wasn't happy with that album, the production of that.
The Black Album actually, it was more commercially acceptable, and the tunes were, it was more a commercial vibe. But I think they still kept their heaviness, and and just kind of split the difference, and maybe lost a few fans that just wanted to kill their parents every song, but still, look at their career. I remember one time the bass player, it's not the bass player in the band now, but the one before that,
Newstead,
said that, when he was told that they sold out, he said, "Yeah, every single show we played for the past 3 years. For the past 3 years."
So now just need you guys to pick a Metallica song each to play on Mandatory Metallica. What can we play for you?
Shoot. I can't think of any offhand that
I'll just go with the Inner Sandman or whatever. Cool riff,
The Nothing Else Matters.
Oh, we're both picking
that's a good tune.
The Black
That's
Album.
A good tune.
One ballad, one rocker.
Yeah, we're all Black Albumed out. Our first album was black too.
Love it. Beautiful, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the time. Can't wait to see you out there at Honda Center, and thank you for the time. And I'm gonna
Thanks, Mike.
Hold you guys to it. I want that 35th anniversary Twice Shy tour. Come on, let's make that happen.
That sounds great, man.
Okay.
Thanks for having us.
We'll have to talk about that.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for having us, Mike.
Appreciate it. Bye-bye.